Hi, this is Dell Sweet. Thank you for listening to this podcast.
Hi, this is Amy Adams. Welcome to the podcast, read by me, written by Dell Sweet. Copyright 2020, all rights reserved in their entirety. Episode 19. Morning. When the sun began to peek over the top of the ridge on the opposite shore of the Black River, everyone filed out to the two remaining trucks. It had been decided that Mike and Jan would stay behind while the others went in search of the stolen truck. They switched on and tested 2 sets of FM radios. The range is normally only about 2 miles or so, but it's not like there's anything to interfere with them anymore, Tom said. We'll take 3 with us, and you keep the other here to monitor us, or if they come back, Tom finished. Do you think that's a possibility? Janet Dove asked. I doubt it, dear, Bob told her with a reassuring smile. It's just to be safe. Mike walked over to Candace. His eyes met her. He kissed her softly, and her arms slipped around him. Don't worry, she whispered. I'll be careful, and I'll make sure they're careful. She kissed him and pulled away. Mike stared at the face of the two-way radio for a long second, and then watched her get into the Suburban. Bob got into the front seat with her. Her eyes met his once more, and she smiled reassuringly, then started the Suburban and fell in behind Tom as he drove the big state truck out across the pavement. Mike and Janet stood quietly as the 2 trucks drove away. Neither of them wanted to go back inside the cave. The sun was up and warming the old asphalt of the road where it passed in front of the cave, and what little snow remained was already beginning to melt. Left here, the radio squawked. It sounded like Lydia. Behind you, came an answer that sounded like Bob. Mike shifted the .30-30 deer rifle he held in one hand and thumbed off the strap that held his 9mm in his web holster. Janet Dove grimaced and then thumbed the safety off the shotgun she was holding. A short clip protruded from the base of the shotgun, just forward of the trigger. She had 2 more clips in a small pouch on her side, as well as a fully loaded .380 in a tooled leather side holster she wore. What must we look like? Mike thought. Aloud, he said, They'll be fine. Really? Janet Dove asked. I truly hope so. I truly do. The next 20 minutes went by slowly. Occasional squawks of directions came from the radio, and in the distance the sound of both trucks could still be heard. The silence broke all at once. The radio squealed in Mike's hand. One word jumped clearly from the static. Jesus! Mike couldn't tell from whom. A crashing sound accompanied it, and in the far distance, gunfire erupted in the still previously quiet morning air. The squeal from the radio abruptly cut off and it fell back to low static. In the distance, the sound of gunfire continued for what seemed like 10 minutes, but was probably no more than 30 or 40 seconds in reality. Mike keyed the radio. Candace, he screamed. Candace! Gunfire broke out again in the distance, the fast pop, pop, pop of semi-automatic gunfire, but the sharp crack of heavy rifle fire, too. No answer came back over the radio. Janet Dove made a small, strangled sound in the back of her throat, and a low sob slipped from her mouth. No, God, no, she whispered. It's all right, Jan, Mike told her. He didn't believe it himself, but it was what you said. It was how you lied to yourself when you were pretty sure that things were far from fine. Life didn't work that way in his experience. The gunfire had stopped, but the radio maintained its teasing static as his mind continued to assure him that nothing at all was right and nothing ever would be again. But just as he had had the thought, the radio in his hand squawked once again. You guys okay? A panic-sounding Bob asked. We're good. We're all good. Everything's okay, Tom answered. Beside Mike, Jan broke into a sob. He reached over and pulled her close to him. It's okay, he soothed. They said they're all okay, Mike repeated dumbly. like the words were some sort of magic mantra. "I need you to come over here," Bob said over the radio in a tight, controlled voice. Fear quickly slipped into Mike's heart. "Yeah, you need..." "Okay, we're coming. We're on the way," Tom replied. Mike pressed his button down. "What is it?" he asked. He spoke with more calm than he felt. "What's going on?" Mike, we got a little problem here. Give me a second and I'll get right back to you," Tom told him. "Standing by," Mike forced himself to say. Now Janet was hugging him, and the fear gripped his heart hard, refusing to let go. "I'll kill you. I will," the kid said. He held his gun sideways, like some banger kid from a bad Hollywood movie. Blood trickled slowly from one nostril, as well as from several deep cuts up the left side of his face. His eyes were focused and hard. "No," Candace said quietly. Her own .45 was held in both hands, aimed at the kid's chest. "He looks like he's only about 13. 14, she corrected. The kid's lip curled at her. "You think I won't do it, bitch? You think I won't? I will. I will do it." "No," Candace repeated quietly. "I drop it and you shoot anyway. No way, kid, no way." She watched as Bob shifted to his right, drawing farther away from Candace, so the kid couldn't keep both of them in his sight. "Stop fucking moving! Stop fucking moving!" the kid suddenly screamed. The gun barrel wavered a little, nervously jittering up and down, the kid's finger lightly, compulsively, caressing the trigger as Candace watched. Tom and Lydia worked their way up silently behind the kid, past the bodies that lay on the ground. One, a young girl. Behind Tom, Lydia dropped the barrel of her gun and sighted on the kid's back. Tom stared at her dumbly for a second and then followed suit. The seconds played out as the blood continued to slowly leak from the kid's face. His tongue darted out and tasted it where it ran from his nose. He tried to push it away from his lips where it ran and dripped down onto his chin. "Last chance, bitch," he said. He brought the gun barrel down towards her. At the same time, Bob took another step sideways. The kid's eyes darted to Bob. The gun dipped and swiveled towards him. "I told you," he began. All four guns spoke at once, and the kid seemed to do a quick tap dance before the gun fell from his hand without firing. He tried to suck in a breath, but collapsed onto the dirty asphalt instead. Before anyone could react, the silence was split by a scream from across the river. A young boy stood silhouetted by the rising sun on the opposite side of the river facing them. Something shifted from his side. "I'll kill you! I'll kill you! You killed my brother!" the boy screamed. His arms came up quickly. "Hit the ground!" Candace yelled, as the kid opened fire with the deer rifle he had in his hands. Everyone hit the dirt except Lydia, whose face registered astonishment as she turned slowly to the river to face the kid. Candace yelled again as she raised herself to both cut and bruised elbows and began to fire back across the river. The kid managed 3 shots before Candace hit him. He slowly toppled over and splashed into the river. Lydia stood, her mouth open wide, staring across the river to where the kid had been. Candace raised her eyes to where Lydia stood, and they caught on a ragged, gaping hole blown through the back of her t-shirt. She continued to stand, seeming to still be looking out over the river, her mouth working. "Lydia," Candace whispered. Lydia slowly turned, her mouth still working but silent. A small, neat hole wept blood down the front of her shirt. Her chest hitched and her eyes fluttered. Tom lunged to his feet, his eyes dazed, and he ran to her, catching her as she slumped forward. Her eyes flickered once more as he eased her to the ground. A small, tight smile came to her mouth. "Killed me," she wheezed. Her eyes closed, and her chest stopped its struggle for breath. The silence seemed to go on forever as Mike and Janet waited. Sudden gunfire erupted in the distance again. Janet moaned, and Mike pulled her closer to him. "It's all right," Mike told her. "It's all right." He didn't believe it any more than he had the last time he'd said it. The burst of gunfire came and went just that quickly, and then silence fell hard on the still morning air. Janet held herself rigidly. Mike could feel her tremble against him. He patted her head. A stupid, useless, meaningless thing to do, he told himself, but he continued nonetheless, patting her head and stroking her hair. Useless, but if nothing else, it seemed to help calm him. He drew a deep breath and the radio squawked. "Mike," Bob asked. Mike took a deep breath and swallowed hard before he trusted his voice to answer. Jen let go of her breath in a deep whoosh and drew in a long, deep, shuddering breath. Mike stroked her hair once more. "Yeah," Mike answered quietly. "It's bad." Bob's voice broke as he spoke.
Thanks for joining in. See you next week.